You've felt it, right? That classic tug of war between your head and your heart. What seems like the logical path versus what just feels right. For literally centuries, we've been debating which one is really sitting in the driver's seat of our lives.
So let's just ask it straight up. When it comes right down to it, for the choices you make every single day, from what you buy to who you trust, who's really calling the shots? Is it your rational, thinking brain, or is it that instinctive, emotional core?
The story we usually tell ourselves looks something like this. Logic, that's our cool, calculated superpower. And emotion? Well, that's the wild, unpredictable force we're always trying to tame. We like to think of ourselves as these thinking machines that just get disrupted by feelings every now and then. But what if that entire story is completely backwards? To find the real answer, we have to look past the old myths and go straight to the source, the actual physical wiring of our brains. And how information travels through your mind, that's our first major clue.
Okay, so here's the key. It's all about the direction of the information flow. See, it doesn't start with logic. It travels from the inside out. First, it hits that ancient reptilian part of the brain that's all about pure survival. Then it passes through the limbic system, that's your emotional core. And only then, last in line, does it finally reach the neocortex, your center for rational thought.
The legendary salesperson Joe Girard put it perfectly. Emotion gets a massive head start. By the time your logical brain is just starting to process a situation, your emotional brain has already reacted. It's already formed an opinion, and it's already preparing you to act. And that internal wiring, it's not just some small detail. It has a staggering impact on our behavior. It leads to some pretty incredible numbers behind every single choice you make. And honestly, the results might just shock you. Just take a second and think about it. If you had to put a number on it, what percentage of your decisions, from the tiny ones to the huge, life-changing ones, would you say are primarily driven by your emotional brain? The answer, according to a mountain of research from neuroscientists and Nobel laureates like Daniel Kahneman, is a staggering 90 to 95%. And get this isn't a flaw in our design, it's an evolutionary feature. These super fast emotional judgments are what kept our ancestors alive long before complex logic had time to weigh the pros and cons of, say, a tiger lurking in the bushes. That tiny 5% sliver, that's where our conscious, logical mind gets to play. The other 95%, that belongs to the emotional brain. And this isn't just an average, it applies to everyone. Yep, even those of us who really pride ourselves on being purely logical thinkers. Okay, so this emotional dominance completely changes how we should think about making decisions, especially when we're trying to figure out the cost of something. It turns out the price is rarely just about the number on the tag. You see this everywhere if you look. For habit expert James Clear, the cost of a habit is the effort it takes and whether it clashes with who you want to be. For a master salesman like Joe Girard, the cost is a missing emotional connection with the customer. And for therapists like Esther Perel and Sadia Khan, the cost of a relationship is the potential for emotional pain. See the pattern? In every single case, cost is an emotional calculation first. But wait a minute, is it always a one-way street? Is it possible for our thoughts to actually create our feelings? This brings us to a really fascinating twist in this whole debate. So there's this idea called appraisal theory, and what it basically suggests is that our emotions don't just happen to us. Instead, they come from our cognitive evaluations, essentially our super fast, often subconscious judgments about what's going on. So here's the tension. Appraisal theory suggests a thought can trigger a feeling. But all that hard neuroscience we just looked at shows that deep in the brain, feeling often comes way before conscious thought. So which one is it? Well, the most accurate answer is that it's not a competition. It's a partnership. Our thoughts can influence our feelings, and our feelings absolutely shape our thoughts. It's this constant dynamic feedback loop where logic and emotion are just fundamentally intertwined. So, where does all this evidence leave us? It points to a really profound shift in how we should see ourselves. It's time to throw out that old model and embrace a new, much more accurate reality. Let's be super clear about this. The old idea of being a logical robot that occasionally gets interrupted by messy feelings is just fundamentally wrong. That is not how we are built.
When you put all this research together, it leads to a really powerful conclusion. We are feeling machines that think. Our emotional core is the engine that drives us, and our logic, that's the steering wheel that helps guide the journey. Emotion gives us the why, and logic helps figure out the how. And that leaves us with one final powerful question. If emotion is the driver and logic is the guide, then the goal isn't to suppress one for the other. It's to learn how to listen to both. So how will you use this understanding in your own life?